I. Here in the benthic zone. In addition to marine snow, larger organisms like octodentes will eventually die and sink down here to the benthic zone, and something will specialize to feed on them, and some octodentes may be the ones to do this. However, to understand how this will happen, we must understand the realities of benthic existence, both oppressive darkness and pressure, i.e. water's heavy, there's a lot of it above their top side. All that water resting on top of them requires that they exert counterpressure not to be crushed. In some ecosystems, this will be intense enough that visiting the surface waters will be enough to make the animal explode. However, superossicles will be crushed due to the hollow digestive tract inside, so this niche will be filled by basic ossa, which may further develop their swimming to subcarangiform locomotion as opposed to their old-fashioned anguilliform locomotion, and correspondingly undergo the same adaptations as Piscis quoque calvariae minus the skull and butt bone. Okay, I was gonna go on this big spiel about a bunch of stuff, but it will be done quicker and less stressfully if I just do it this unscripted way. One, they're much bigger than other species to retain heat in this cold environment with little food. Well, it's not necessarily cold, but there's little food. So, think more like a shark as opposed to a random fish. Two, they have a better sense of smell so they can find carcasses to go eat. And three, so they can see what they're doing, they have bioluminescent eyes. But since other individuals may see them and cannibalize them, they have the ability to turn off their bioluminescence at any time. Thus the name of this clade, which I will call Luminis Luctu Oculi, or flashlight eyes, as opposed to the more primitive Dim Oculus Maze, or dim eyes. Now, tentacle vermibus will find themselves needing defense against larger predators such as Luminous Luctu Oculi, so they may evolve a form of toxins for defense. Specifically venom, which will be administered through the stinger, which is now an actual stinger as opposed to a vaguely pointy soft back end of the animal. And furthermore, any organism that wants to defend itself through toxins will have to signal its dangerousness to predators. This normally comes in the form of bright colors. But in this environment, the darkness makes this hard to see, so they may do it in the form of bioluminescence, emitting easily seen blue light from their scales. This will earn them the name Pulchra vermis, or beautiful worms, as opposed to Odysseus squamis, or boring scales. And I will note that relatives from less steep areas just have simple colored scales, and once venom evolved in this clade, it became used in the majority of species, although some non-toxic species still cling on near the coast. Okay, so I do these outros as like a little diary of the whole production of the video process. Normally I reserve it till right after I finish the entire thing, but quite often I'm very tired, very much often in a rush to get the whole video out on before the change for the month, and so I end up rushing it and not actually remembering stuff I want to say. Plus, there's stuff I've forgotten about, so now I also do a bit of the outro right after I finish doing the audio. And I just want to note that the clade I just debuted is the first clade I created. This is the first time I've added a clade. I've published a clade that I created after publishing the video series, and it was added to part 4 retroactively after I'd already finished working on part 5. That's how far ahead the writing is compared to the actual production. Yikes. Also, doing the voiceover this time wasn't too hellish, unlike last time when I literally resorted to going unscripted so I actually could bear doing it. Okay, I've got 4 minutes, so I've got to be really quick. Basically, there's not much to note. Basically, I'm naming various things off of Emigin based, naming them imperially, okay? Like, I've already named the continent after a red whale, who's the first person who subbed to this and someone I followed content of quite closely. Or somewhat closely anyway, I don't know. It fluctuates, but regardless, if you want to have a landmark like a valley, a forest, a sea, a mountain, even an island, named after you on planet Emigin, then you can then just leave a comment asking for it, and you'll get a completely hypothetical landmark named after you. I get a name for a thing in my world building project, or mountain range. It could be mountain range too, but anyway, I get a name for a thing in my world building project. you get a hypothetical thing named after you, so clearly it's an equal exchange, right? Well, but also only one per person.